is Anit, and I'm a MSW intern, social worker, and I work for the Department of Human Services. And I'm here because there were some concerns reported by Child Protective Services. And I want to make sure that you and your children and family are safe. But before we get into the concerns, I did want to go over a couple of important things. First, everything that you tell me is going to be confidential except for if you have intentions to harm yourself or somebody else, um, or if I have reasons to believe that you're going to hurt a vulnerable population, such as a child, disabled, or elderly person. So, as a mandated reporter, I'm required to report that. Um, Also, like, I want to let you know that there is a possibility of the court subpoenaing any information that you disclose to me. So in those instances, confidentiality can be broken. I know this is a lot of information that's kind of, being thrown at you. So just feel free to stop me at any time if you have questions. So everything that I have said so far, does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so some of the concerns that I have is that about the domestic violence that has been occurring in your home, and so another concern that I do have is allegations of gender neglect, which basically means um, that your children were not receiving adequate food, clothing, um, and like making sure there's working utilities in your house. So you're not in any kind of trouble. I just want to hear from you about some things that have been going on in your house. Um, can you tell me about the birthday party that took place in your home and the fight between you and your boyfriend?
Well, we did have a party, um, and we did have people over at our home. So, they did bring beer and they left it without cleaning it up. Um, and then as far as the argument or the dispute between my boyfriend and myself, we did get in an argument. And usually it's verbal, but this time around he did push me to the floor.
Okay, so from what I'm hearing is you tell me is that it was verbal, and then when he pushed you down to the floor, like how did you feel about that?
Well, I was a little concerned because we have gotten in arguments before,
Mhm.
um, but he's never like physically touched me. It's always been like just arguing, mouthing off to each other.
And when you say that you have um, verbal arguments, what do the arguments usually consist of?
Usually they're about my daughter, my oldest daughter,
Mm-hmm.
Sandra. She's 13 and she's like, her dad passed, so she's very like, she has a lot of behavior issues, and
Mm-hmm.
her and my boyfriend, they really don't get along.
Okay. I mean, that's hard to imagine, your daughter losing her dad. Um, how old was she when she lost her father?
She was very young. She was like in kindergarten, and she now like she gets assistance like the survivors benefit,
Mm-hmm.
but she kind of ever since then has given me a lot of behavioral problems. She gets in trouble a lot at school and stuff as well.
Okay. Um, do you know what kind of behavior problems she has at school?
Well, the principal has called me like a few times. She's been suspended.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the majority of it's usually she's absent or tardy, and then um, violence. Like she tends to, sometimes she gets really angry. She even does that
Mm-hmm.
at the house, and she'll like hit things or she'll just argue.
Mm. Have you talked to your daughter about like her behaviors at school, and just kind of try to communicate with her to see if there's any way you can help her.
Well, I mean, I have talked to her, and basically she doesn't want me with my boyfriend. But that is the father of my youngest, and so Brianna, she's only 13 months, and she has to understand that. I feel like sometimes she kind of like gets jealous because she doesn't have her dad, and also, um, I feel like also my boyfriend doesn't pay attention to her because she's not a baby, she's older. So I have addressed it with her, but it's like it's either me choosing her or choosing to break up with my boyfriend.
Oh, so it seems like you kind of are placed in a situation sometimes where you want to have a good relationship with your daughter, and at the same time you want to have a good relationship with your boyfriend as well.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Um, so can you tell me about like is there any alcohol or drug use in the home?
Oh, well, I, well, I mean, I drink, like we drank
Mm-hmm.
the night of the party, um, but I don't use drugs. I mean, one of the other arguments that we have constantly is Sam, my boyfriend,
Mm-hmm.
he still does use drugs.
Okay, and the reason I was asking this question to you is because I'm trying to understand if like Sam's alcohol or substance use is connected to the physical abuse, because oftentimes in domestic violence situations, alcohol or drug can impair like a person's mental capability and judgment. So they might, act out impulsively without thinking. So I was wondering if that is the case in your situation as well.
Well, the day of the party when this happened, I know he was, I know for sure he was drinking because we were all drinking. Um, but as far as drugs go, I mean, um, more than likely, yeah, he could have been. I do notice that when he is doing that, um, he is more likely to get in an argument with me, or, like if he's not drinking or he's not doing drugs, he's a different person.
Okay, so it does seem like there is some influence of the drinking and the drugs
Yeah.
in causing like arguments between you guys. Um, okay, can you tell me about the drug treatment program that you completed? Because that was listed in the report as well.
Yeah, so soon after Sandra's dad had passed, I got really bad into drugs. Well, I had always been off and on, but it kind of I sunk in a deeper hole. Um, and I did complete the program. Um, I think I'm not too sure how long it was, but I completed the program.
Okay, that's quite an accomplishment, because addiction can be extremely difficult to overcome, and not everybody is able to successfully go through rehab and complete a program. So what that tells me is that you're determined and you're very goal oriented, and you do care about your family. You want a better life for your children as well.
Um, yeah, thank you. It was really hard. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I've had a problem with for CPS, that they don't understand that. And that's, like I said, our biggest argument for me and my boyfriend is I don't want to relapse and get back to that point. Um, Soon after I met him, I did relapse, and it's been 4 years since I've been clean since then, off of
Mhm.
drugs. So yeah, I mean, it was a big accomplishment, and I'm trying to stay on track.
Yeah, that's really good that you recognize that you wanted to go through the program, and 4 years is quite a long time. So congratulations, that's really good that you're able to keep up and stay on track for that amount of time. Also, I want to see if like I would be able to link you up with any services, or I'm wondering like what you need from me that I would be able to help you with.
Um, well, one of the things that I think I can use more assistance with is um, right now, like financially, we've been struggling because I'm currently unemployed, and my boyfriend is working like at um, a meat place, and
Mm-hmm.
so we don't have a whole lot. And it's unfortunate, for my kids, but I am trying to stay sober. It's just right now it's hard to make ends meet. So if I can get assistance with that, and then um, maybe help for my daughter Sandra because, she seems to be having a lot of problems, and I just want to make sure that she's okay because she's very good to my two youngest kids, and now that she's older, she's 13. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we don't put as much attention to her.
Okay. Yeah, I would definitely be able to, link you up with some resources, especially financial resources. We have differential response, um, which is kind of helps with like utilities and bills, and like financially they help. They're able to help out as well. So if that's something you're interested in, I would definitely be able to link you up with them. And in terms of your concerns with Sandra, your daughter, um, would it be okay if I would get permission to speak to her as well? That way I can kind of talk to her and see if like I can help her or be of any assistance with her, how she's doing in school as well, and kind of monitor her progress.
Yeah, I mean, the more help I have, the better. That sounds like it would be helpful as far as the financial part. And
Mm-hmm.
then if I'm not mistaken, I spoke to Sandra's principal, and I know she was meeting with someone. So I mean, I'm okay with that.
Okay, sounds great. I'm gonna